Lesson 3.6, write in point slope form to slope intercept form. So in this video, this lesson, we are going to take coordinates or an ordered pair and a slope and make it into a linear equation. And these linear equations are going to take two forms. We're going to start off in the point slope form, and then we're going to change that point slope form into the slope intercept form using some properties of equality. So first of all, what is the point slope form? It looks like this. So it looks a little complicated, but the ones that we're going to be filling in with values will be the y1. Here, let me circle. We're going to fill in the y1, the m, and the x1. And it's called the point slope form efficiently because it contains a point, which is an x and y value, and the slope, which is this letter m, as we learned earlier in other previous lessons, that m represents slope. Okay, so the x1 and the y1 is the point. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with an example. Okay, so the instructions say write an equation in point slope form and slope intercept form for each line. And again, we want to put it into this form. And the first example, we're going to say the line that passes through, it passes through the point 2, 2, and has a slope, or with a slope of 3. Okay, so what am I going to do? Again, I'm going to put my math on one side and try to do the explanation on the right side. So here, all we're going to do is label. So this right here is my ordered pair. So my ordered pair is my x value. So that's my x1 and my y1, because that's what we substitute into the form. And the 3 is my m. It's my slope because it said slope right there. So it's a point slope. So that's how we get the name. So all we're going to do is take this form, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, and we're going to replace the 3 values. So the y stays, subtract y1. y1 is 2 equals m. m is my 3, parentheses, x minus x1. My x1 is also a 2. And this is my equation of the line that passes through 2, 2 with a slope of 3. So this is my first answer right there, because it says put it in point slope form. And now I'm going to take this and write that into slope intercept form. So slope intercept form, if you recall, looks like this. It has the y on the left side equals term with an x plus a number. So in order to do that, we're going to take our equation that's in point slope and start simplifying it, and then isolate for y. So the first thing I'm going to do to simplify, since I have parentheses and a number outside, means I'm going to multiply. I'm going to multiply this 3 times both the x and the 2. Keeping them separate though. 3 times x is 3x. Subtract 3 times 2, which is 6. And on the left side, I have y minus 2. Bring this up a little bit. I'm getting to the bottom. So it's almost in the slope-intercept form, but the y still has that subtract 2. So what do? I need to add 2 to that. So I'm going to have this subtract 2 and add 2. So these two end up canceling each other. Equals, we have 3x minus 6. And since I added 2 to the left, I'm going to add 2 to the right. And these two are like terms, so they combine together. So on the left, I have y equals, the 3x stays 3x, -6 or -6 plus 2 is -4. And this is in our slope-intercept form. So this is our second answer. So now I'm going to write the steps on the right side. Okay, so what I did was first label the ordered pairs, or the ordered pair with x1 and y1. Then I labeled the slope with the m. Next, I wrote out what the point slope form is right here. And then last, I went ahead and substituted my values, the x1 value, the y2 value, and the m values into my point slope. Okay, on the second part, what I did was I multiplied 3 times x and 3 times 2 to get rid of the parentheses. Next, I added 2 to the subtract 2 to get the y by itself, because those are opposites. And then I also added 2 to the right side to keep the equation balanced. And that's how I rewrote the point slope form into the slope-intercept form. Here's a second example, and again we want to write an equation of the line that passes through -4, -2, and has a slope of -3/4. So this one's a little different because now we have negative numbers in our ordered pair, and we have a fraction as a slope. Okay, so once again I follow the same steps. I'm going to label my x1 and my y1 and my m. Okay, write down my form that I want to write it into. So the y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So that's my point slope form. And now I'm going to go ahead and substitute the values in. So y minus y1. So here I have y minus y1 is a -2. So take note that the form has a subtraction, and then the value y1 is a -2. So I have a double negative right there. Equals m. M is -3/4. So I'm going to put -3/4 outside the parentheses. X minus, so again I have that subtraction in the form, and the x1 is also a negative number, so I'm going to have that double negative right there. So this is my equation in point slope form, but I could simplify it we do simplify it because we don't like writing when we have double signs next to each other like that. So if you recall, subtracting a negative is the same thing as adding the positive or adding the opposite of that. So this is actually y plus 2, or simplified to be y plus 2, equals, we leave this as -3/4 x. So here we have the other double negative. So subtracting a -4 is the same thing as adding the opposite. So that's adding a +4. So there, now it looks a little cleaner. And this is our equation of the line that passes through -4, -2 with a slope of -3/4 in point slope form. Okay, and now we want to write this in slope-intercept form. So we want to get the y equals mx plus b. So let me write it down. And let's go ahead and begin. Where do we begin? We begin by multiplying the -3/4 times the x and -3/4 times the 4 to get rid of the parentheses. So I get y plus 2 on the left because nothing happened there. -3/4 times x is just -3/4 x. And then -3/4 times +4 will give me a negative result. And doing the multiplication, 3 times 4 is 12. And 4 times 1, because if I put the 1 under there, it's 4. So I get 12/4, which simplifies to just be 3. Okay? And now I'm going to go ahead and cancel out that +2. So how do I cancel out adding 2? I subtract 2. So adding 2 and subtract 2 cancel, equals -3/4 x minus 3. So if I subtracted 2 on the left, I have to subtract 2 on the right, and these combine, leaving me with y on the left equals -3/4 x. -3 minus 2 gives me -5. So here is the equation. It's the same equation, just written in the different form. So this is my slope-intercept form. So we get two answers, the point slope form and the slope-intercept form. And we're done.